Alright guys, welcome back. As the new Blue Eyes structure deck has been released a few days ago in the TCG, I thought this was a good time to introduce to you the new Blue Eyes deck that we will also get in Master Duel in the future. I guess Konami will definitely save this up for some kind of celebration maybe, because the people are very hyped. I will talk to you about the cards, I will show you some combos so that you understand how this deck operates. I think this is a very fun deck. Note here that we are playing it in combination with the Primite engine, 3 times Primite, another barrel, Primite, Drill Beam, and Primite Lordly Load, which is, I think, the best version to play this. Once the structure deck or the content of the structure deck comes out in Master Duel, we should then already have the Primite stuff. This should come before, hopefully should also be next on the list, so the Lordy Load as well as the Drill Beam we could get within the next few packs, and then the barrel and the Blue Eyes cards are probably a bit more off in the future, but we will see. This engine helps the entire deck to grind. This is the grind game engine, and a very crazy one at that. I will explain to you in a second when we look at the combo. And so this deck is actually kind of nice, was dominating in the OCG at the moment, is the 3rd best deck in the OCG, has just been released in the TCG, and will probably also there be a top deck. And obviously then also in Master Duel, this also might be a deck that is better in the OCG than in the CCG, and this would also mean that it is probably better in Master Duel than in the TCG. It is a bit weak to Bystials. Bystials can definitely hit this deck very hard, but other than that, it is kind of strong. And as I already said, a grind game deck that is extremely fun to play, I have to admit, and let's be honest, playing Blue Eyes monsters is just cool. We are playing 2 Blue Eyes White Dragon here. We need this for some combos. We are playing the best one-card starter, Sage with Eyes of Blue. This is an old card, but it's pretty amazing since you can normal summon this multiple times together with the field spell, and then you can also search your effect Veiler with this. So in the combo that I will show you, you will be able to search firstly your Maiden of White, which is your main search target, and then also an effect Veiler once we summon this a second time. We have the Maiden of White, which is a new card. You can send this card from your hand off field to the graveyard for cost. Place 1 True Light, this card here, from your deck or graveyard, which is nice because if Blue Eyes gets True Light gets destroyed, we can reset it in your spell trap zone. And if you special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon it. Also very nice. 3rd effect, when a card or effect is activated that targets this card on the field, or when this card is targeted for an attack. Quick effect, you can special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon or 1 level 1 Light Tuner from your graveyard. The 3rd effect is definitely the least relevant one, but you can also, or you can already see that this is a new card since this has 3 effects. Then we have Prayers with Eyes of Blue. This you want to Ash Blossom. This is very strong. Discard 1 card, add 1 level 1 Light Tuner and 1 spell trap that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to your hand, except this one here. And then you can also banish this card from your graveyard and target 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon you control. Equip 1 Blue Eyes monster from your extra deck to it as an equip spell that gives it 400 attack. This also comes up, I will show you in a moment how. Then we have True Light. This is an older card, but with this card you can special summon a Blue Eyes from graveyard or the deck, or you can set 1 spell trap directly from your deck that lists Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is nice because then you can set the Prayers. And then we have Majesty with Dragons of White, a very strong interruption. Show up to 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons, so in our case up to 2 from your hand, face of field, and or graveyard. Then destroy that many cards your opponent controls. Very strong interruption here, and then this also has a banish effect that is not relevant. Then we have 1 Saga of the Blue Eyed Dragon, which is such a funny card. With my friends, I had a deep discussion about how this card worked since this was translated a bit interestingly. We had a big discussion, a little fight, was very cool. This is now known as the Blue Eyes incident in our little friend community. Special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your deck, graveyard, or banishment in defense position, but you can only special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon with this effect if you do not control it. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except dragon monsters. So this is nice, can get you into a Blue Eyes if you need it. And then you can also banish this card from your graveyard, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. So this can be used to go into, for example, your Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. We're only playing this once since this is not that amazing. Then we have the Mausoleum of the White, and now there's the Primite engine, which is just insane. I will show you this in a second in the replay. It says if this card is normal or special summoned, no, normal summoned, you can set 1 Primite spell trap from your deck. Will normally be the Lordly Load. And then we also have the effect that we can tribute this card, send one normal monster from our deck to the graveyard. Never really comes up, but you can send a Blue Eyes, and during your standby phase, if you have a normal monster on your field or in your graveyard, you can add this card from your grave to your hand. So this entire Primite engine works together with normal cards, which is why this is super fitting in this deck here. And then we have Primite Drill Beam, which says quick play spell, reveal one Primite card or one normal monster in your hand except this one, or if you control a normal monster or a level 5 or higher Primite monster, then you don't have to reveal basically. Then target one face-up card on the field, negate its effect, and if you do, banish it. And then, so this negates and banishes. And then during your main phase, if you control a Primate monster, so another barrel, which you can get back in the standby phase, remember, if you control it, then you can also set this card from a graveyard. Note here that this card will not leave the field, so go to the banishment. If you reset it, it will just stay there, which is where this deck gets its grind engine from. Obviously, you can also grind through your Blue Eyes by resummoning them and having them as big bodies, but the Primite engine gives you the ability to use Primite Drill Beam every turn, negating something from your opponent and banishing it, and then just resetting this card and do it once again, which is insane. And then we have a Primite Lordly Load. This is basically our starter that gets us into our another barrel here, but this can also be revealed for the Drill Beam, for example. But there's another cool effect that also works with Blue Eyes here. When this card is activated, add one Primite card from your deck to your hand except a Lordly Load. You can declare one normal monster card name, so the Blue Eyes special summon one declared a normal monster from your hand, deck or graveyard in defense position. Also, you cannot activate the effects of special summon monsters on the field for the rest of this turn. So this can also be used to get a Blue Eyes to the field. Very relevant, as we will see in a second here. We are playing a lot of non-engines since this deck can actually play a good amount. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 is a really good amount of non-engine here, so the engine versus non-engine part is really solid. We have 2 Nibiru here. We are playing Bestials, but obviously the non-engine can be exchanged for whatever. Maxis, Ash Blossoms. Then the effect values make sense since we can search them with the Sage with Eyes of Blue. Then we have 2 Dominus Purge, a new card that will also come, which basically says if your opponent controls a card, you can activate this card from your hand, and when a card or effect is activated that includes an effect that adds a card from the deck to hand, negate that effect. Then if you have a trap card in your graveyard, destroy that card. So if something searches, you can negate this and then also destroy the card if there's a trap in the graveyard. This gives you the restriction of you not being able to activate the effects of Dark, Water and Fire monster for the rest of this duel, which is non-consequential since we don't play them, which is why we can't play the Dominus Purge in here. And then the classic Called by Crosser package and Imperms. We have 2 Tyrant Dragons, the old card, one Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon just to be equipped. I will show you this in a second. The new Blue Eyes Spirit Ultimate Dragon, which you can tag into via your Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, which is one of the cards that you will often end up on your end board, which is a nice one. The new one says your opponent cannot banish cards from your graveyard, so no Bestials. And then when a card or effect is activated on the field, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, this card gains 1000 attack until the end of this turn. So this is an on-field Omni-Negate that does not target. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one light dragon monster from your graveyard. For example, you could summon the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. So I will show you in a second how you can also manage to not have to destroy this thing in the end phase if you summon it with the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, since the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon will destroy the monster it has special summoned. For that, we are using the Azure Ice Silver Dragon, not a new card. We are playing Hieratic Seals, very strong in this deck, and often the card that we will end up on. Access Code for a better kill option, Selene because we are playing Spellcasters, then one Liner if we want to steal our opponent's light monsters, then one Link Spider for the Nibiru plays, one Espidel Knight, and then 2 times the new Spirit with Eyes of Blue, the new Link one, obviously a good card. One level 4 or lower Dragon or Spellcaster monster you cannot special summon except Dragon monsters. You can only use once. If this card is Link summoned, you can take one Mausoleum of the White, the field spell, from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Then you can also tribute this card to special summon one Blue Eyes monster from your hand or graveyard, but if you special summon an effect monster from the graveyard, it cannot attack, also its effects are negated. This is very nice since you can get a Blue Eyes from the grave and then also resummon the Maiden of White, but that I will show you now in the combo tutorial so that you understand how this deck works. We'll first show you the Another Barrel combo, which is just insane, and then the Blue Eyes combo, and in a perfect world you want to combine these 2 engines, obviously. So for our first combo, let me show you why Primite Another Barrel is so insane. We are normal summoning the guy, then you can search for the Primite Lordly Load. We activate Lordly Load to get the Drill Beam. This was the Omni-Negate, remember. Then we are going to link one, because this is a dragon, into Spirit with Eyes of Blue. This fits perfectly with the Blue Eyes engine, grabbing the Mausoleum of the White. Now we can use a Lordly Loads effect to get a Blue Eyes from the deck. Remember that now we cannot activate the effect of special summon monsters anymore. Now we have two bodies that we can use to go into Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. Then we are going to set our Drill Beam and end the turn. So this is if we are only starting with another barrel in the hand, but this is actually a lot, even though it might not seem that. So let's go over to our opponent and see what we can do here. So we have our spheres available and our Omni-Negate Drill Beam. It's very important to note here that at the moment we cannot activate Drill Beam since we can't reveal a Primite card, and we also do not have a normal monster on our field or in the hand that we could reveal. So in this combo line, it's very important, if we only have these cards, for example, it's very important to firstly use the spheres, right? So let's imagine we want to bounce that Blazing Inpachi here. We are activating Seals to bounce the guy. Then we activate Seals in the graveyard to special summon a Blue Eyes. And at this point, we are controlling a normal monster, which means now our Omni-Negate, Banish, Reset is live. So this is our next interruption that we have here. And then just to understand how this grind game engine works, on our turn now, because we are controlling this normal monster here, we can now activate another barrel in the graveyard, add this one back to the hand, which we can then once again normal summon it, and add another Lordly Load just to thin out our deck basically. But this can also add another barrel. So now, just to make you understand how this Drill Beam works, we will just remove our own card here. You normally wouldn't do that. Now this goes to the graveyard, and because we are controlling a Primite monster, the another barrel which just came back from the graveyard, we can just reset Primite Drill Beam. And the cool thing is that we could now also activate this Lordly Load to grab another Primite, another barrel to our hand, which then our Drill Beam is more live than it was before, since before we needed to get this Blue Eyes to the field, and now we have another barrel in the hand via this Lordly Load. And you can do this every turn. So if you can manage to slow down the game, then with this engine, you will just win the game, since this not only banishes, negates, it also banishes, which means it will remove important pieces from play, for example, something from the Fiendsmith engine, or maybe Labyrinth monsters, Labyrinth traps. Every deck basically is better off having their resources in the graveyard than being banished, so this is extremely strong and will win you the game over a long period of time in the game. So this is why this engine is so good and also works perfectly together with Blue Eyes. But now let me show you what you can do with the new Blue Eyes cards, obviously. So as I already said, in a perfect world you would combine these two engines, but let's imagine we now had only the Blue Eye stuff. This is a random discard, so just ignore that this is also another barrel. We are normally summoning our best monster, the Sage with the Eyes of Blue. It activates to grab ourselves Maiden of White. We can now discard Maiden of White to set True Light. Now we go link one into our Spirit with Eyes of Blue in order to grab our Field Spell. Note here that with the Field Spell we can do an additional normal summon of a level 1 Light Tuner. Will come up later. Now we can activate this one just to basically mill one of our Blue Eyes into the graveyard, and now we can use the effect of Spirit of Eyes of Blue and special summon this Blue Eyes Dragon. Now in our graveyard the Maiden of White triggers, since we have special summoned the Blue Eyes, and this can also special summon. Now we have access to our first Synchro monster here, going into our Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. And we did this now because now we want to activate True Light if, for example, our opponent Ghost Ogres us here. That would destroy the True Light, and the True Light would then destroy our entire field. But with the Blue Eye Spirit Dragon giving us the ability to negate an effect in the graveyard, we can now be safe from a Ghost Ogre. So if our opponent Ghost Ogres this, we can just negate this in the graveyard. This is why we made this before activating True Light. Activate True Light to set our search card, the Prayers with Eyes of Blue. Here we need our discard. Activate Prayers to discard, and we are grabbing the Saga of the Blue-Eyed Dragon and the Sage with Eyes of Blue. You can also grab the Interruption Trap, which destroys. I will show you this in a second, but then you are not able to make the play that I will show you now. So you have to decide basically. Now we are using our additional normal summon here, and this guy can search multiple times each turn, so this normal summon search effect is not once. Now we can search an effect Veiler here, which is super nice. We have another interruption. Now we are activating Saga to get another Blue Eyes on the field, and you might already see where this goes. We are activating the Prayers now, since now we can equip to our Blue Eyes fusion monster. This in this case is the Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Now we go into our second Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, and the reason why we have equipped this Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon is that in the graveyard this basically protects during either player's turn when a card or effect is activated that targets a Blue Eyes monster, so these ones here. Then we can banish this and negate the activation and destroy that card. So this is an additional protection that we now have in the graveyard ready. This is why we made this play. Now we are going into the end phase, and let's see what we can do on our opponent's turn. So firstly, I am going to activate Duel to set this trap that can now destroy cards of our opponent up to the number of blue ice monsters we show them, in this case 2. The thing here is, though, obviously we can't activate this right now since we have only set this right now. This is the other option that you could have gone for. You could have also gone for this instead of the saga of the blue-eyed dragon, but then you would not have been able to go into this second blue ice spirit dragon. So you have to decide, do you want this ready or do you want this live? This is your decision. You can obviously still go for this other line of play. You can still go for the saga with Eyes of Blue and search this effect veil. This would still work, right? You just have to decide whether you want a second blue ice spirit dragon or this destruction trap ready on turn 2. Then we can obviously, I just show you this now, there's obviously a negate that we want to use first, but we can tech this out for the new boss monster, the Blue Ice Spirit Ultimate Dragon. And in this setup here, we can also protect this one from being destroyed at the end phase by our Spirit Dragon. For this, we would need to take out the other Spirit Dragon for our Azure Ice Silver Dragon. This says, if this card is special summoned until the end of the next turn, neither player can target dragon monsters you currently control with card effects, which is nice. Also, they cannot be destroyed by card effects. So this is how this protects it. They can't be destroyed by the card effect of the Blue Ice Spirit Dragon, which means now we can keep this on our field as an Omni Negate. And yes, we are going to go to the end phase here. They do whatever, it doesn't really matter. And this is the board that you can end up on with only the Sage of Blue Ice. And if you then combine this with the Primite engine that I've just shown you, I guess you can understand how strong this deck can be, especially in the grind game. I think this will be a very dominant force in Master Duel, and honestly, I'm very excited. The games I played with this were very much fun, but you can let me know in the comments what you think of this deck. What do you think of this showcase? Are you excited for this? Are you waiting for this? And are you hyped? Let me know in the comments. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing, hitting a thumbs up and the notification bell. And guys, we will see each other in the next one.